What so-called classic movie is really terrible? My Fair Lady. Oh, this talk singing thing Rex Harrison is doing is interesting, I guess. Wait, he does this the entire movie? And he has 7 songs? Awful. Scarface. Gone with the Wind. That was 4 hours of the winniest, most unlikable, most entitled main character in the history of cinema. Titanic's not terrible, but it's definitely not as incredible as everyone makes it out to be. The worst movie I have ever seen is Grease. What the heck even happened? I feel like they just wrote catchy songs and then realized they needed to stick them in the middle of a story, then wrote the story after being awake for 48 hours straight. Temple of Doom. The woman was funny when you're a kid, but unbearably annoying when you're an adult. The Notebook. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Pretty Woman. I understand it has some classic scenes in it, but Jer's character is just a dick and the whole story is a bit meh. Saturday Night Fever. The music is great, but it is a masterpiece of misogyny that has not aged well at all. Chorus line, it's a bunch of good-looking 20-somethings whining about their first world problems, set to music. Rebel without a cause. I don't know if I just didn't get it, but it was so boring. Mamma Mia. OMG. The cringe. Love Actually. Saturday Night Fever. The music is great, but general treatment of women plus a wildly casual R**PE scene. I was horrified. Titanic. Chevy Chase's vacation movies. People swear up and down about them. I can't stand to watch any of them for more than 5 minutes. Especially if he's interacting with whatever random kids are playing his kids in any given movie. Breakfast Club. Didn't get it, couldn't get into it, seemed like a bunch of whiny teens giving shit to a teacher because they're all screw-ups, then they do smoke weed and start dancing. I have never in my life been able to do anything like that after getting blitzed out of my brain. Avatar. I'm still amazed that it's the highest grossing movie of all time. It's literally about colonialism and racism and capitalism and imperialism and white saviors, and people act like it's some brilliant new concept. I recently watched The Keep because I heard the score was one of the influences for the Stranger Things soundtrack. God, it was awful. Children of the Corn is the worst horror movie I've ever seen. 2001, A Space Odyssey. I get that it was groundbreaking for its time and was reasonably scientifically accurate, but man did it bore me something fierce. Garden State. I was a big fan of Scrubs and figured since Zach Braff was the star it shouldn't be too bad. Boy was I wrong. The winniest, most pretentious piece of trash ever put to film. I even usually like Natalie Portman, but she wasn't that good either. Beautiful Girls. A coming-of-age story, but with full-on adults and a 13-year-old sexualized Natalie Portman. Rocky Horror Picture Show. The movie itself, god-awful. Me and my fiancé watched it cause she had never seen it, and she was right when she said it was just a bunch of randomness. However, the music is amazing, so I'll still watch it from start to finish and sing along to every song. No one going for Star Wars? Just me then. A Christmas Story. It's so boring and pointless. Breakfast Club, it's just fucking boring. The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. I watched it once, expecting to see one of the best thrillers I've seen in a while. And what I got was a pretty cheesy story without proper explanation and a bad ending. It's not a terrible movie, but Nightmare Before Christmas is a meh movie with bad music. If it wasn't for the fan club it has, I would have quickly forgotten about it and probably never considered having any real opinion about it, but because of the fan club I can't stand it. I really can't understand the hype. Dirty Dancing. Never seen it till about 2 weeks ago. Terrible movie. Citizen Kane. It is so boring. Breakfast Club. Rocky Horror Picture Show. But that's actually the point of the movie. Children of the Corn. Gone with the Wind. Between the war profiteering, the implied spousal rape, and the ridiculous way the Confederates are painted as gentlemen heroes being oppressed by invaders. We don't even need to mention the racism. But yeah, the holy shit this is so racist reaction I had while watching it makes me wonder how that shit still gets screened. Anyone who still thinks this is a good movie just doesn't get to be my friend. Titanic, there I said it. It's boring. They took a tragic historical event and they turned it into a 2.30th of March 2000 movie. Ooh, like ooh. If you like the movie I respect that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Spot on, his review was actually spot on how much of a spoiled sociopath Ferris is. Pulp Fiction is an extremely weird movie. Most of the movie I was like, okay, but what exactly are trying to portray, or what are you leading us towards, because it seemed completely pointless. I know someone already said this, but Titanic. It's just so bad, oh my god. Wizard of Oz. I cannot express how much I hate it. Probably most John Wayne movies, the guy was an asshole, and felt like an asshole in all of his movies. Anything Adam Sandler makes or stars in. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's charmless, except the friend. Governess. Citizen Kane. I found a lot of James Bond movies very boring, not terrible, just boring. Not sure if it falls under everyone's definition of classic per se, but as a huge B-movie guy, I'd have to recommend against seeing Blood Feast. Considered a classic by many, but really all you need to see is Blood Diner, which is the same thing but better. The Governess. I hadn't seen it as a kid and finally watched it as an adult a couple years ago. I have no idea why all the hype. My brother said that the older James Bond films are, in his words, racist, misogynistic piles of shit. I think he was mostly talking about the Sean Connery ones. I personally haven't seen all of them though. I will say I saw one James Bond movie with Sean Connery and I didn't think it was misogynistic. The female lead of that episode was a Blue Angel pilot that knew judo, so that doesn't seem like the writers thought that women were completely helpless. Then again, I have terrible social lenses, so IDK. Titanic is a snooze fest. Return of the GD. It's not terrible, just alright. The stuff with Luke and Vader is really great, but everything else is underwhelming by comparison. The opening and the middle sections are astoundingly dull. People get angry about how Finn had scraps to do an episode 9th. Well, Han and Leia get the same treatment here. Both of them are just kind of around, and Leia's lineage doesn't really impact the story much. West Side Story. I don't know why I was so crazy for it as a kid. I rewatched it as an adult, and I was just so uncomfortable. Grease. Apart from the iconic songs and dance numbers, the overall message and ending was terrible. I think Scarface is terrible. Pacino overacts and is comically cartoonish in the role. Harry Potter, talk about overrated LMAO. Blade Runner. I love sci-fi. I just don't find that particular one interesting at all. As much as I hate to say it, because I'm a huge Tarantino fan, but Reservoir Dogs. Boring as shit. The original It. Hocus Pocus. Literally cannot stand this monstrosity. Titanic. Was at the end everyone cried too? After countless recommendations I watched it, and it wasn't that transcendent. And the end was so dumb. Only good thing about it was young Leonardo. I never found The Princess Bride funny. I honestly thought Die Hard was just okay, not insanely good, but IDK. It's a Wonderful Life. Mary Poppins irritates me to no end. Gone with the Wind. I will never ever sit through that movie again. Kill Bill Volume 2. First one was great, could barely make it through the second film though. Inglourious Bastards. The first I wanna say hour of the movie is interesting, but then it seems like there was a massive plot change. The setup that they did in the beginning seemed mostly irrelevant for what they ended up doing. When I start off watching the movie I'm interested and invested, but by the end of it I'm kinda bewildered. The storylines that were there kinda come loose at one point and it kinda throws my viewing experience off. I hate to say it, but Point Bridge over the River Quay Point, huge fan of Alec Guinness, but honestly the movie is just unbelievable. There's no consistency, and it does a terrible job of actually portraying the horror that the POWs went through in Japanese camps. Cause it's such a classic. Forrest Gump, Ghostbusters, Lost Boys. It was filmed in my hometown, but holy crap is it a huge pile. Just an absolute bore fest. Not really terrible, but still very bad emo. Top Gun. I recently watched it for the first time and was pretty excited because it's a classic and all. But it was just Cold War propaganda. Oh no, bad Russians, a Mick from Up, a Mick from Behind Us. Oh no,